Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy MumboElite. Welcome back to another video. And we have Ligue SBCs that came back out. Same requirements as last time for the Mixed League upgrade and the premium Mixed League upgrades. But we're going to show you what we do for our Paletools if you're trying to set up something similar. As always, if you have better filters for yourself, because I'm not the absolute best at these, feel free to tweak it as you want, or down in the comments if you think there's something better, let us know. But if you do enjoy, smack the like button, subscribe if you're new. Let's get it. So we're going to start with the mix. First and foremost, we'll go into the Championship MLS section. And I'm not going to go super long on these. If you want to screenshot these, you can. This is kind of what I have rolled up. So we have the two commons there. I'm not going to read out everything on screen because, again, that would just make this super long and you guys can take a screenshot there. But we like to get some silver rares there from the MLS. Once you get low on these, I like to switch it to the Championship. You'll notice I put the minimum at 69. It's not because I don't want to use 68 and under. There's going to be a ton of rares that we want to use eventually. I just usually go on console and do those by hand and chuck in like another gold to clear those. But a lot of the time, if you're trying to make it easier on yourself, having things that are 69 rated, 274 rated, especially with the commons too, is going to help as well. So once you get low on one of those leagues, you switch to the other. You shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. So we'll go in here real quick, put those in. And boom, just like that, we got the rating. We got the rares needed. Now we just need the chemistry. So we'll move a few things around. And boom, just like that, we got one done. Now we're on to the Ligue 2 and La Liga Hypermotion. This one, a lot of the times people are going to run low on the silver commons. So what I do is I usually either 150 bid or 200 buy now, go through and get all the 70 plus rated silver commons from these two leagues. La Liga Hypermotion has a ton more, so if you're trying to pick those up there, it's a lot easier. But as you see here, we have 45 rated to 79, two players there of just rare, and then we do a mix of the most recent for the higher end Hypermotion cards, mix of 68 to 79. Sometimes you'll have some golds land in there, sometimes you don't, and you just have to mix around the rating. It really kind of depends on what you already have. We're usually pretty club stocked, and then ratings high to low for this one, 64 to 45. If we can throw in some commons, we'll do that as well. So here's what that looks like. That's the Africa one. Oops. We'll show you what that looks like when you pop it in. And there we go. We have one rare, two rare. We have 70 ratings. So as you see, we can use lower rated stuff. So all I'll usually do is I'll start with removing the high 70s. So we'll pop two of those in. That gets us down to a 68. Perfect. So then we just need to make sure we have the chemistry, move a few things around, and boom, that one's done as well. Here we got the Serie BKT in the Bundesliga 2. This is what we got for that. If you want to use this, we start with the most recent, getting just two rares. You can do that through the Bundesliga, or you can do that through the Serie B. I have one at the end that you'll notice down here is through Serie B as well. So if we run out of Bundesliga 2 rares, we switch over to that one. But I just do a mix of most recent bronzes, silvers, golds. I just do 45 to 79 rated. It's not too important. You just want to make sure you're getting the, 62 rating. So if you're doing a lot of BPM, you really don't have any silvers, you might be low in terms of the rating. But I would say most of the time, the sticking point is going to be the rares. If you're doing BPM, you should get a decent amount of rares. If you want to bid 300 on the silver rares, you can do that as well. That one's pretty straightforward. We'll go ahead and get that one done. Put those in. Move that around. What do we got? We got two rares right there. Just making sure that looks good. Move that to there, and boom. That one's finished. Now, the final section, we got the Saudi League, Superliga. You can only use 6 from the same club. This one's super easy. You can't use any golds. Max is silver. You got to get 60 rating. For this one, I just keep it simple. We do most recent, 45 to 74 for each. We ignore positions and use each league. Max is 6 from the same club. I just put 15 on each so we get a little bit of a bench. If you run low on one league, use the other. Some people are doing it where they only use one league and they sell on the other. However you guys want to roll through it. This isn't a how to grind Ligue SBCs. This is the Paletools video. If you want to see my how to grind, we give suggestions on what I'd recommend doing, especially for a club stock. But to make this easy, we'll just chuck in a few of these silvers. That should give us a 60 rating. Now we just need a little bit of chem. Move that around, and boom. That is done right there. All right, dudes, now it's time for the premium mixed. I have a bunch of tradables in my club that I'm saving for Black Friday. We'll be making a video on that later this week. So I'm not going to actually submit these. I'm just going to show you kind of the templates and we'll put it in. Kind of show you how it works. And then from there, if you guys want to change it so you only use untradables, by all means. But here's what we got. So for the Prem La Liga, this one's going to be the most highest rated needed. We do 4 rares from La Liga. You can use Prem if you want. I personally love using La Liga in Paletools because for me it's harder to tell those badges apart a little bit than it is the Prem ones very quickly. Then we chuck in some commons here in the middle section, going from high to low. And then we have some low to high for some additional La Liga. But if you want to switch that one to Prem so you don't get a lot of the same team, you can do that too. The only issue with a sort of setup like this is since you can't put these two together without having no guarantees on the amount of rares put in versus commons, you might run into the case where you get the same team popping up that has a gold common and a gold rare. You can find that pretty quickly though. Like if we go in here, that's not a problem whatsoever. We're at 80 rating, so that's a little too high. If we move, how many rares do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take a 81 plus there, get that down to a 79 rating. We're good everywhere else. So we'll pop those in. And like I said, I'm not going to actually submit this, but that's what it would look like if I did submit it. And then we're going to move to the Bundesliga Serie A. Again, same requirements as last time, so you guys really don't need to get updated on those. But in terms of how I get this one sorted out, we need 3 rares for this one, so I just try to get the rares on the front end, giving me a decent amount of rating. So I go high to low. 83 is the max, 75 is the minimum, 3 count for gold rares for Bundesliga. Then after that, we do a mix of low to high for 75 to 83 to get a lot of commons in there. I could put this to just common. You'll run into the case where some rares will pop up too if you don't. That's kind of a personal preference thing. I usually have more rares than I actually need. So if I have to sometimes throw in an additional one just to get some different teams in there or make sure I have enough rating or chem, by all means, feel free to do that. And then Serie A, we do a low to high, get a lot of bronzes in there, get a lot of silvers that we would otherwise never use. So that's what I have for that SBC template. We'll pop that in real quick, show you what that looks like. And again, same thing as before. If you're using separate ones for, let's say, the rares versus the commons, you're going to have the case where sometimes it pops the same team. So if you do that, you just got to quickly find which one's from the same team. Here it looks like we got 2 Leverkusen ones. We're at 78. We probably only need 77, so I could throw in that. Players from the same club still right into the same issue. So it looks like we got a second one there. If we do that, that should be good. Move them around. Boom, boom, boom. Very quickly snap it in and boom, there you go. Got everything needed for that. And then the hardest one. This one is going to be a little hit or miss for people. We have our grind that we do with the mixed. If you guys want to see that video, we show you how to build up basically 5 to 10 of these really easily with all untradables before you even start this. If you do want to do that method. And kind of my SBC function off this is going to be kind of based on that. So we have here most recent mix is 65 to 74. Player count 3, minimum from the same club 4. I start with Sudamericana using some rares. Then I do Sudamericana using some commons. Then I go to bronzes and then some golds from Libertadores and Sudamericana. If you want to use those exact same things, you can. You can put everything to untradable if you only want to use untradable. The reason I don't have it selected is sometimes if I'm spamming BPM and I don't sell on everything, I'll throw in 1 to 2 tradable bronzes, especially if I'm trying to save some silver rares or silver commons to have a little higher rating or even some of those golds. But if we go to Club Analyzer, you'll see here I have 7 golds from Lib, 1 Sud. I got a ton of silvers from Libertadores, 28 from Sudamericana, and then a decent amount of bronzes there too. So if we pop these in real quick, you'll see something similar to this. Boom. We should have the rares needed. We should have the rating now, but depending on what you have in your club, you might not necessarily have that. You might have to chuck in a gold, which is why we make it so some gold show up on the bench and some other cards too in case you need to mix things around. But main thing for me, again, I would make sure I'm using as many untradables as I can. If I'm using all untradables, even better. But if I'm a little bit overkill in terms of the rating or the amount of rares, that's where I'll sometimes put in those tradable bronzes. But yeah, dudes, that is basically it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. And again, comment down below if you have any better templates that are working for you. Feel free to help each other out. You guys wanted to know mine. I personally don't promote these too much because I don't think mine are the best in the world. But they get the job done for doing the mix upwards of 10 plus times a day right now. And then now the premium, we're going to probably do 6 or 7, no pun intended, times through that today. So yeah, we'll see you next time. It's been your boy MumboElite. I'm out. God bless.